Well, everybody, happy Sunday. Let me make sure everything's going smoothly. Yeah. Looks like we're good to go. Oh, so I'm a little bit late. You ever have one of those times where you're like, okay, you're now on a schedule, and then that's when your bowels decide to move? All right, we're ready to leave. Let's go. It's like, actually, 1 second. So yeah, welcome. I feel like it's been a while since we did a Sunday chill day because I've had to skip last week, and I want to say I had to skip a handful of weeks now that I think about it. But today is going to be a little more discussion overall because I want to make sure that we're focusing on the right things, and I want to make sure that we are going about like the times for stream, our thinking, our way of thinking is correct, right? So as far as this week, what we have accomplished, Monday was not a whole lot. I don't know if I took Monday off. I honestly don't even remember at this point. Worked on YouTube stuff, uploaded the VODs. So I made a second and third. Okay, so this week I did update the YouTube channel, and I made separate channels for separate things, right? Because we have the VOD channel where we have the VODs and everything, which, you know, got some views, but not a whole lot. And then I wanted to make a channel, one channel for like the gaming content, and then one channel for, you know, developing yourself. Because in my mind, that would allow the YouTube algorithm to properly utilize, like, know who to give my videos to. In which, because apparently it can't multitask. Only if there's like tags or something, it'll be like, hey, this is for this group, this is for this group, but they're not. That's not how that works. So I made 3. But as I was making the 3, which one would be the VOD channel, yeah, one would be the, I already said the gaming, etc. Yeah. I realized that as I was like doing verifications and all that stuff, that you are only allowed 2 channels with the same phone number for 1 year. Meaning that I have to wait another whole year in order to add potentially 2 more channels. So what that means is that we're gonna have our VOD channel, and then we're just gonna have a main channel for now, and then just hope things go well. Because I just can't do a third one. I literally just can't. But so we did update the YouTube channel a bit. That was good. That was fun. I am planning on for those that kind of noticed, the VOD channel hasn't been updated for the VODs for this week, and that's because I'm kind of changing how I'm doing VODs a little bit. One of which is I want to separate them out. So what is up now, I will have to, I mean, it's only gotten like a few views here and there, no comments, no nothing, so taking them down won't be a problem. But I'm going to take them down, I'm going to separate them out, and then each video will be one specific thing, because I've noticed that there's been quite a few now where I would, in the same stream, do multiple things. I would do art, and then I would do a game, and then sometimes, especially if I do Archipelago, I do 2 different games, where we do like a little bit of Archipelago, catch up on stuff, and then we would move on to like Dead Space or Content Warning or something, right? So in hindsight, it's like, well, yeah, it's my VOD. I just put it up there and we're good to go. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't think people I think when people would watch the VOD of something, they want it to be one thing. They don't want it to be multiple things, right? So it's kind of one of those things, whereas like I'm gonna just separate them out. I'm gonna do the work of separating them out and making it so that each video is one thing, and then I'll still do the titles. As far as the way that I have it going on is where I have in brackets what the video entails, and then parentheses what day the stream is, right? And that allows for easy cataloging, as well as people being like, oh, I wonder what this stream on this day was like, and they can easily find that, right? Especially since if I'm going to be splitting everything up, there's going to be a whole lot of videos that are going to be posted on the same day, where you can't just use that as an indicator. I've also been considering as far as making at least like decent thumbnails instead of just raw footage for them. I think that would maybe make it go for a good way. Something easy, like to the point where it's just the Mama Dodo superimposed onto the background of the game would be enough. Like nothing crazy. I do want to make my own and draw my own thumbnails for YouTube for like edited content, because I think that is really cool and nice and neat, and I kind of want to give it a shot. But we're also going to be going over today as far as priorities, as far as where we want our focus to be, and we'll be discussing that, right? As far as Wednesday, unfortunately, I didn't really get any of those stuff done as far as separating the videos out. Pretty much what I was talking now. You can kind of see like here, what I just mentioned was, it wasn't done. Oh wait, hold on. I need to minimize the VideoTube Mini so I'm not growing green. Thursday, we did a surprise Foundry stream because that game is definitely up my alley, and it was release day, so I wanted to do that. And then as you can see, it kind of like tapered out. Oh, one thing that we are going to be doing, this should be today, actually. In case you don't know, or haven't noticed, there are a few floating pixels on this model that I'm currently using. So I'm going to make sure that, hold on, you might be able to see it if I do this. You see it? You see those little floating right there? Yeah, so I'll be going in and fixing that, because I have been told that it's been bothering some people, which is honestly fair. It's just been low on my priority list to fix. But as far as today, we'll go through all our normal stuff, and then we'll be going into more detail on like, how's our stream schedule looking? How's our priorities looking? And it may be just a good idea to have this kind of more in-depth discussion overall. Maybe like the first Sunday chill day of every month. It's kind of like a more in-depth, and then the other weeks are just kind of like a little more lighthearted, and then we'll just move on to doing something else, either working on a drawing or playing a chill game or something like that, you know? But yeah, as far as next week, unfortunately next week, it's kind of, I have a lot of like appointments. So as far as Tuesday, I have a counselor appointment at 6. I have a doctor's appointment around 2 on Thursday. Normally, as far as our current schedule, that will not affect y'all in the slightest. But if we decide to change things up today, it may need to have either like push things forward or cut things a little short. And then I'll do my best to make up the time with y'all. And then I have a a friend visit happening this weekend, upcoming weekend, graduation party, and then Mother's Day, in which, you know, it's Mother's Day. So that the next Sunday stream more than likely will not happen. But I will try to update the meeting minutes. I know I said I was going to update the minutes last week. I still haven't done that. So I'll try to double down this week. And try to do last week's and this week's. Yeah. I'll try to be better with that. But as far as what we're going to do, we'll go over that. Today, actually, you know what? We're already on the topic, so let's discuss it. Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. So, this is your reminder to stay hydrated. Priorities, what we want, what we're looking for, why we're even doing this, right? So the goal of streaming is to have a good place for me to interact with my community, right? And all the things that I'm going to end up wanting to do, I want there to be a place where the people that support me and the people that want to be with me on this journey have a way to interact with me in a good and entertaining way. The Discord plays more of a role of a hub for the community, where if you don't like streaming, you can still interact with everybody. And you know, and making money off of it would be one of the streams of revenue that would be coming in. But it was never meant to be like, my goal is to be a streamer. My entire income is based off of streaming. Would it be great if that was the case? Yes, 100%. Totally amazing. But that wasn't the goal. That wasn't the intention. The intention is Twitch was a way to interact with people in a healthy and fun manner. That was it. It was kind of creating that personal, for lack of a better word, bond, you know? Like having a conversation, having human interaction, you know? The goal was never to have streaming be the goal. It was just a means. But I want to make sure that the means to interact with me didn't have a lot of friction to it, which is why I focused a lot of time as far as making sure that it was smooth, or at least as smooth as I knew how to, as of right now, at least. And there are still things that are very much lacking. I still haven't made the VTuber model. I still haven't, well, I've set up the alerts and everything, but like transition slides, I still haven't done. I haven't made custom animations for the subs and the follows, and so there's a lot of like little things that most streams already have down packed that I'm still using the stock version of, because I just haven't gotten to it yet. And y'all are more than welcome to let me know as far as the things that you want to see the most, as far as like adjustments, to make it much smoother, much more interactable, just to make sure that I'm prioritizing things accordingly. Now, the main goal and the main thing that is like, okay, so this is where a lot of my effort was to go into, and that is like the projects that I work on. So these are the things of like making a game, or writing a book, or being inspired for a drawing or something like that, right? granted, the draw inspired for a drawing isn't going to pull money, but making a game that actually does pretty decently well would make enough money for me to live off of, right? Making a book that would sell well would make me enough money to live off of. So I think I need to properly understand and refocus on the main goal is to make this a living. The main goal is to make sure that my bills are paid. Because if my bills are paid, then it's fine if I take a little bit. But if my bills aren't paid, I am on a timer. And if I rush things, then things won't be at the right quality that they need to be. Thus, they don't do as well as they need to be. Thus, I'm not able to pay my bills, and it cycles, right? So I want to make the VTuber model. I want to work on all these other things. But that's time that I'm not working on the project. That is the, I wouldn't say main breadwinner, but as far as the eggs in the basket that will be utilized so I can eat, it's the biggest egg, right? And I know I've mentioned it in the past, but it is the goal in which I want to make a game in 3 months. A small game, small horror game, 3 months, first game ever. Well, I've worked on games in the past, but never anything that I've finished. There was a little bit of idealist lore, not in the lore, but history. Idealist the person, not the character. I was part of a game jam at one point. Never finished it, but it was one of the Toolmaster's Toolkit. Is that the? I feel like I'm saying that wrong. They hosted a game jam in which it was about time, and then they were like, okay, we give you like a week to make a game about time, and I went so hard into it. I was so excited. It was so cool. And I was super ambitious, and I burned myself out and never got to finish it. But it was like Timefall is the name, I think, is what I decided on it. And it was going to be a small, like, multiplayer. By the way, if you're going to make your first game, don't make a multiplayer. Game where you could, it's like the floor is falling into a pit of lava, and you're trying to stay on for as long as possible, but you have the ability to reverse time for both yourself and like you had like grenades that reversed time, and you can reverse where you were like 2 seconds prior, and the primary button was also like a knockback or something like that. So you would have these fun, like, I need to stay on, and then it's like, oh, I'm falling, and then you reverse yourself, and then so it can grenade you and then reverse back, and it seemed like it would be a lot of fun. And I learned how to do the whole reversing thing as well as the falling thing, but I forgot. I just burned myself out. I think I worked on it for like 3 days, I want to say 3 or 4 days, where it was like a good 8+ hours each day, maybe 10. Which, it sounds like, wow, that's just a normal full-time gig. Why did that burn you out? 8 to 10 hours is a long time trying to make something new that you have no experience in making. And unfortunately, it's like, listen, maybe I'm just built poorly. I don't know. But like for me, when I'm trying to do something I'm not used to, and I'm trying to learn and grow and develop, like 2 to 4 hours is like the limit. And then I'm just fried. And so I've tried to make games in the past, and I have some beginnings of other potential games that I was making in the past as well. But this goal, these streams are going to be like working towards the first game. And then after the game is made and released, then we reassess as far as how much money I have left. How much money are we making for it? Did it do well? If it didn't do well, why didn't it do well? And then probably move on to a full-time gig. Depending on how well it went. But like, and then that journey in making that, like, I'm streaming it. I am interacting with y'all. I'm still doing fun stuff and hosting and putting like videos on YouTube and stuff like that. And since I mentioned YouTube, the point of YouTube is to get new eyes on things. It's essentially, I'm utilizing YouTube as like a marketing tool, right? Especially the short form, where it's like, hey, this is what I'm about. These are the things that I'm doing. If this is something that interests you, come join us, kind of thing, right? And that's already difficult enough for most people. But I, in my infinite wisdom, am like trying to dual wield this wholesome, supportive, we got this developing skill mindset, and then also playing like games and horror and crafting. it's a little everywhere. But it's kind of one of those things where I feel like what I want to do and where my strengths lie are different. What I want is to make a community where we're able to build upon ourselves in a healthy manner. What I'm good at is that I think people find me entertaining to watch. But you know, we'll figure that out. So I'm using YouTube as more of a way to to get new eyes on things. And also I just kind of want to explore it and see how I feel about making edited, not live content, or at least, and then like making thumbnails, and then just see how that is, and see if developing myself in that way is something that kind of catches my interest. So, do I need to make the VTuber model? Yeah. But is the VTuber model going to make me money? I don't think so. I think it's going to allow better retention. I think it's going to bring more people in. Right? But is that going to make me money? And the answer is no. I'm not even at the point anywhere near close enough to be paid through Twitch or YouTube. But making the game would, in some semblance, give me some form of money, right? And I think that's where I kind of need to switch gears to. It's like, is there stuff that I still need to do? 100%. But that's not where the focus should be. The focus should be the game design. Because I think that's the one where, out of all my interests currently, that's the one where it's more... It feels weird saying most likely to succeed, because it's already really difficult in not likelihood to succeed. But comparatively to, like, writing a book... Plus, writing a book would be, I feel like it would be a lot more boring for y'all. So unless I have good interaction set up for the stream, y'all aren't gonna watch that. There's no way. There's no way. But so as far as next week goes, I'm thinking game design start. That's what I'm thinking. The reason being, well, I think I already kind of went over why, right? Because as much as there's still so much left to do, I don't know. It just, my priority needs to make sure that I have bills paid. Now, is it going to be harder to get people in and build a community with the things that need to be taken care of in the streams? Yeah. The more friction there is as far as community interaction, the less community interaction there's going to be, you know? And then if I don't do the YouTube, if I don't market myself accordingly, don't put myself out there so people even know about me, then the cycle isn't going to be there. And the cycle that I'm referring to in the overarching kind of like design of how this business, because essentially this is what it is that I make a thing which brings in people who support me. So then I make a new thing who then they support because they support me, that brings in new people, and then it just cycles all again and again and again. So that it's like, am I expecting every single person to like every single project that I do? No, of course not. But you know what it is? If I have 100 people, let's say 100 people, not 100 loyal fans, I'm talking about just 100 normal people, and I release a game and I announce that game to my community, that's 100 people that is being told about something that they might have never been able to see due to how hard it is to to put that shit out there, right? So the bigger the community that I build, the more people that it reaches when I make things. And because I make things, I then make people aware that I stream and that I interact with the community, which may bring more people into the community. Like, it feeds itself. That's my current plan. That's the mindset that I have as far as how it's going to work, is making things and being part of the community will feed in of itself so that it will just keep growing in that aspect until I don't have to worry about funding my projects. I don't have to worry about paying or feeding myself. It's like, I'm good. Because there's enough passive income through Twitch. There's enough passive income through Twitch and YouTube and through the projects. And as the community grows, so will the eyes on the things that I make grow. That's giving more money in that aspect, and vice versa. And is it likely to succeed? I would say no. But as far as my plan's been so far, it's the first one that feels like a decent plan. You know what I mean? Because my past ones have just been like, I just want to make the thing in my off hours, and then I work a job that sucks the life out of me, and then I don't have anything to give after work, and I'm tired of that, right? And maybe I just haven't found the right place to work, which is maybe, you know, maybe it's tough out there, but I want to see if I can make this work. So I think the game design start is good, which now leads, because I put it for Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the afternoon, right? But we haven't even discussed of how we feel about streaming. How do we feel about our streams and the time that we streams and the days that we stream, right? So if I look at my analytics currently and discovery and engagement and all that kind of stuff, we have like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The Thursday one was the Foundry. So we have like a little bit here and there. Saturday, I didn't even host Saturday, but apparently we got some minutes watched there. So we got some growth here, and a little bit more natural growth, because we've had here. I'll switch y'all real quick. See, so we've had some growth in the past, right? But those tend to be, I'm not going to say inflated, right? But it's more or less like my friends joined that one. So it's not random people. Whereas a lot of these other ones are more or less random people. So it's more natural growth. And now you can see where I started. So I started on Monday, March 18th, and now we are here. And so we've only really streamed for like a month and a half. So it really hasn't been that long. But what can we take from this? Actually, not a whole lot, because there's just not enough data to be able to be like, hey, this is what we need to do in order to move forward with it, right? And then the YouTube content, it's essentially just like a few views here, a few views there, but nothing huge. But I think a lot of that has something to do with like the mixture of what's in each of those videos. So I'll have art mixed in with a game, so I need to separate those out, and I think that will help things move forward. And then also, like, I don't make thumbnails to catch eyes, and I think that's kind of really, really important. So it's difficult to because I can't just focus on one, because we have the pillar of the project, which is the main money focus, and then we have the community section where we interact with the community. So that this is your VTuber model. These are making animated things. Make it so that interacting with me is fun, and being here is fun for y'all. And then we have the pillar of marketing myself through YouTube, right? And making not catered content, but edited content and short form content in that way. And if any of those are lacking, then it doesn't work as well. So it's like there's only enough of me going around as I can. So like the original plan is that it's Monday afternoon and evening, right? The afternoon would be working on projects, and then the evening would be like playing games, right? And then Tuesday and Thursdays would be me working on like on the YouTube side of stuff, right? But that would also mean that I'm only really working on the main thing 3 days out of the week for like 2 to 3 hours. And I remember stating that, like, I also wanted to leave those days open so that if I wanted to go grocery shopping, if I wanted to go like go get an appointment and stuff like that, then I have those days to fill everything in. However, I don't start streaming till like 2 p.m. So it's like I could just do that in the mornings, but I usually sleep in through the mornings, and it's tough trying to figure this out. What would be a good thing? And let's see if I can pull it up real quick, because here's another kind of like thing to throw in to the complications of this whole thing. Let's see here. It was Twitch analytics. Yeah, I'll switch it for y'all so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. right? So this is Twitch statistics and charts. So this is one of those things where you like, I tried my best to look at the data to be like, okay, so if we were going to go straight data without the personal influence of including what works for me, the person, which we're going to get to that, by the way. What does the data say? So if we look, this is the up down, right? Now, what is recommended is that you want to be on this upslope. You want, like, here, you want to be on, and you kind of like this. You don't want to be on the downslope. Least of all here, right? I remember Thor talking about this as well. But the way that this is Eastern, by the way, is like it starts to go up at about 4 a.m. and then it peaks at about 4 p.m. Right? 4 p.m. is when it peaks, and then it starts to dip around 6 p.m. So it's one of the reasons why I chose the 2 to 6. The 2 to 6 is here. No, it's here. That's 2 o'clock. And then we would go here. So it's really, like taking the biggest piece. But if we look at channels, they also follow that, right? They also follow that curve. They know, they see that's the biggest piece, but it's also the most competition, right? What you want is to be able to be the least amount of competition, but the most amount of views. So the lowest here is kind of like at 6 a.m. or at least like 4 to 8. But if we look at the viewers, 4 to 8 is like 4 is when it gets here, and then 8 is like here. So really, 4 to 8 is pretty good because the least amount of, it's the least amount, but, or a competition, but you would still kind of like go up. So then we look at our 8 to 12, right? If we go to our 8 to 12, this is 8. We're already on the downward. And then we go to 12. We're on the downhill here. Which isn't great. And then if we look at active streamers now, let's go to channels. 8 to 12. Look at that. It kind of, you see how it bumps up? 8 to 12. So the 8 to 12 slot kind of sucks. We have an increase. I wouldn't say an increase, but there in a relative increase in competition with less viewers in that slot. But here's also the thing. These are not equivalent, right? This is one thing that we gotta know is that if, see this peak, let's say it's like, cool, I want to aim for everyone in this peak where there's so many people. If those people don't like my content, it doesn't matter if there's a lot of people. None of them want my content. What if the people who like my content are like down here? Right? But I don't know that. I don't know the kind of people that like my content. I don't know when they come on. And so that's why it's important to make sure that you have a good way of like putting yourself out there and getting eyes on you so that the people who can, or the people who are interested in your stuff are at least aware that you exist. You know what I mean? So there's a couple of potential ideas that I'm considering. The 2 to 4 or the 2 to 6, I really like the 2 to 6. It's unfortunate that a lot of my friends over on the West Coast aren't able to like join in often, just because like by the time I'm leaving, like I'm packing up shop for streaming, that's when they are like, oh, let's check out what Idealist is doing. So it's difficult to say as far as when to start, where to stop. And this is the raw, like looking at the raw data. And so one of the things that I've considered is, instead of doing 2 separate streams from 2 to 6 and then 8 to 12, what if we did 10 to 6? What if we did 8 hours? Right? That way. So that would be here. We would start halfway up on the incline. Then we would go on, and then we would get off right at the peak starts dipping. And then we look at the channels. If we start at 10, same deal. About half as much as we would normally face at like 2, right? Start at 10, and then we would go all the way to 6, which would be here. So I would be part of this group that would go from like halfway up, but they would get off around this time, right? So it would be beneficial to do that. But now we have the other part of the equation. All right. So the other part of the equation is me, the person. And this is something that if you have never really sat down and done this with yourself, I really do recommend it. So what I have here is kind of like a tracker that I did at one point. It was a while back, but it's the paying attention to my motivation and my energy over time over the day. So this was a way for me to help determine when I should be doing things, because I was like, let's see here. Let's see. Black screen real quick. Just want to make sure that I'm not showing things I'm not supposed to show. Oh, yeah. We're good. I was looking at the to-do list, right? Like making bills, hair appointments, all that other kind of stuff, you know. But it's a relationship between the amount of energy that I have versus the amount of willpower that I have. And you do certain things during each of those times. So if I have low energy, low willpower, then I need something that's not difficult, that I like to do. So willpower is about essentially how much do I like doing it? Because if I don't like doing it, it requires more willpower to do it. And then for energy, it's how much does it take out of me to do it? So there's a big difference between I need to clean up the apartment a little bit versus I'm going to go exercise and sweat a whole lot. Or I'm going to practice drawing versus work out with my brother in the mornings, right? There's a big difference. So like high energy is something that's like difficult. It's something that's mentally tasking or physically taxing, not tasking, where you need to put a lot of yourself out there in order to get done. So like low energy, low willpower is like, yeah, like pay bills or paying for gift or making an appointment or cataloging Magic the Gathering cards. And then a low energy, high willpower is like, that one's like filling paperwork for passport. Yeah, those things that's like, it's not taxing, but man, do I not want to do it. You know, it's just like, ugh. So I would put low energy, high willpower as like cleaning the apartment. That's where I would put it. Where it's like, I don't want to clean. I don't want to clean. But does it take a lot of energy out of me? No, not really. It requires willpower, not energy. And whereas high energy, low willpower, this is like theory crafting. These are like playing really difficult games, or maybe even like editing videos, maybe, where it's like I'm trying to like learning something new would be like in this category, because it takes a lot of energy to learn something new. And then we have the high willpower, high energy, where you can't get yourself to do it, and it's so taxing. And for me, it was finishing the Cat Hadra, because like I like drawing, but man, do I need the willpower in order to get through it. Because especially at this time when I made this, it was like I was still very much in that stage of drawing where it took a lot out of me to just get through the frustration of it all. So what I did is that I just, over the span of a day, just paid attention to myself and be like, how's my energy? How are we doing? And like what I've noticed is like my energy kind of peaked around noon, and then it kind of like dipped a little bit, and then I would get a little hump of energy in the middle of the afternoon, and then it would dip again, and then my energy would be really good for the evening, and then I'll just tank after a certain point. But my willpower, so I kind of have like almost like a 2 humps of energy throughout the day, where about like 4 hours ish after I wake up is my peak, which is why I start streaming at 2. I get up at 10 usually. So I start stream where my energy is at the highest, and then I end stream. I end stream, well, depending on it, I should have probably do end stream about 6 hours. It would be about 4 o'clock, because that's when I dip. But I've maybe y'all have noticed during stream as well, about like halfway through that stream, I kind of have lower energy, and then suddenly the thing I was working on, I'm not really working on it anymore, and we like switch gears to a game or something, right? But then I get a second hit in the evening, because I'm a night owl, and then the 8 o'clock, I'm just gonna ride out until I get tired. But my willpower, on the other hand, I've learned is something that I have the most in the morning. So it tends to be linked to my sleep. If I don't sleep well, I don't have good willpower. But if I sleep well, I have the most in the morning, and it's just a tank that just gets used throughout the day, and then we move forward with it. Granted, what I also learned is that taking a nap brings this back up. I'm not normally a nap kind of guy. I'm not a nap person. I usually wake up just groggy and disoriented. My naps are not usually good naps, unless I'm like just not feeling good. But what resetting my willpower, it would be excellent for. So I tried to find a good relationship between like, okay, so high willpower, low energy in the mornings. What's something that I can do that is not something I want to do, but doesn't take a whole lot out of me? So in this case, cleaning would probably be good for the first thing in the morning, right? Because so working out in the mornings tends to be the best for me, because that will at least, not the first thing in the morning, but I would say about like an hour after I get up is when I'm at a point where it's like, okay, time to use up some of this willpower. Let's go work out. It's why I wake up, I eat, and then I work out. Today, I was planning on actually postponing this stream a little bit because I just woke up too late. One of the things I will get on myself for this is that I've been staying up too late, so I've been waking up too late. I've been waking up at like 11, 12 o'clock, and I'm supposed to be getting up at like 10. And that doesn't give me enough time to wake up, eat, and work out, and then be ready for stream. So what ends up happening is that I end up skipping working out, and that's not good. That's not okay. I don't want that. I think I've missed, and we'll be going over the exercise part of this in a bit, but I've missed a few days, and that's not good. And the most heinous of all, it's the core leg days. It's been skipping. I'm sorry. It just, Sundays are rough for me. So Sundays are getting harder and harder to do, especially the last couple weeks in which like I had really busy weekends. So then when Sunday runs around, I do not have the capacity. My willpower is boom, right? But yeah, so that's another thing that we have to keep in mind is what works for the data versus what works for you. And you need to find a good way of trying to accommodate both that doesn't, because if you can be there at the perfect statistical time, but if you're not like in a good place when you do it, that's going to show. If your energy level, if I try to do it at 8 a.m., right? And my energy level is the lowest it's going to be, people are going to clock in on that. So we need to be able to find something that we're able to balance both the stats and what we personally run on, because it's not meant for everybody. Like, not everything is meant for everyone. And you need to be able to figure out, like, okay, so what works for me? And then work around that. Personally, I feel that working around your own natural rhythms takes more priority over the statistics. You adjust accordingly. But because if this, I mean, the stats change, and it definitely should be something that should be paid attention to, but you can try to adjust to make the stats work. Trying to adjust to make your rhythm work for the stats, maybe for some people, you can do that. And if you're able to, I salute you. Excellent. Just focus on the data, you'll adjust to that accordingly. For me, my body functions its own way. My body is as stubborn as I am. It has its own way of going about things, and if the world doesn't like it, that's just too damn bad. I will adjust accordingly to the world, but in its own unique way. Energy and motivation over time seem to be pretty consistent for me, overall. So, with that in mind, the chart that I made before, that was when I woke up at 8, right? That's when I woke up for work. So, if I shift everything accordingly from like where it's like 10, then we have a little bit more accurate as far as like, okay, well, what would be good, right? Or we can just get up earlier, right? My natural sleep rhythm is 2 to 10. If left to my own devices, I get tired around 1 or 2 o'clock, and I want to get up around 10 or 11. That's my usual rhythm, right? No alarm needed, no nothing. That's what it likes to go about, which is why I'm frustrated myself staying up later, because I'm tired. Like, when I'm up to like 3 o'clock in the morning, or maybe even past that, I'm tired. Like, today I am tired because I stayed up too late. So I need to be better with that. And I think that is, I also found with myself is getting up and going to bed is usually an hour each. It takes me like a good hour for me to feel like, okay, we're good, we're ready to get out of bed, versus going into bed, it's like, okay, I'm ready to go to sleep, is about an hour in each direction. It takes about that long for a warm up and a cool down, which is fine. But I need to work around that, which means I should be in bed by 1, which, as far as our schedule goes, 8 to 12 makes some sense. But it does eat up pretty much the whole day, right? So if we look back again at the 10 to 6 one that we mentioned earlier, well, we would be starting off as soon as I get up, right? So if we're starting off as soon as we get up, that's going to be, we're going to have a whole lot of motivation to do stuff, but we're not going to have any energy. And for a lot of people, they would probably recommend the same thing. They'd be like, just drink coffee, right? Just drink caffeine, you'll be good to go. I'm not a caffeine drinker. One of my most controversial opinions, I don't drink caffeine. It doesn't really do anything for me all that much. Like, even now when I drink the occasional caffeinated drink, it doesn't really do a whole lot. I certainly don't feel it. And there's been multiple times where I've had a caffeinated drink and then I go to sleep. But no, I don't drink coffee in the mornings. I don't really like coffee. And then the only caffeinated drink that I kind of grew up on was like Mountain Dew Voltage, and that was my study aid, right? It was Mountain Dew Voltage and white cheddar popcorn was my study snack of choice, where I would stay up really late and do that. And not surprisingly, I gained a lot of weight. So yeah, like doing things first thing in the morning, not so much. I mean, what we could do is wait about an hour after I get out of bed, and then we would have increased energy throughout the thing, and then I would peak about a couple hours into the stream, which was fine. But we also have to think of food, right? My stomach, one of the biggest reasons why I get out of bed in an hour is that it takes that long of a time for my stomach to wake up. I don't know. Waking up during the day, I don't know what I'm going to eat. My stomach tells me what we're going to eat. And it's like, okay, cool. Am I craving some chicken? I'm going to need some protein. Awesome. Are we thinking we need a little bit more pep in our step, a little more energy? We're going to have some pasta. Excellent. Like, it's like, oh, we want something sweet. All right, we want some fruit. We want some natural sugars, and we need some vitamins and minerals in ourselves. Awesome. But I don't know that until an hour in. And I know a lot of streamers just eat on stream. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I don't really feel comfortable eating. I feel like that's really annoying for people to listen to someone else eat on stream. I don't know. Y'all can give me some feedback on that if you so desire. But it's why I kind of been streaming the way I've been streaming, which is get up, eat, work out, and then we stream. So then I've eaten, I've done the things I need to do, I can just focus on the stream, and we're good to go. So like the 2 to 6 feel real good. The 8 to 12, however, I don't know. It just doesn't. Doing both in one day is tiring. It does feel very tiring, and it also feels like I can't really do anything else in the day, you know? So a part of me wants to think like, oh, let's do the 2 to 6, and then after dinner we just do like, we'll just do like YouTube stuff. But the same part of my brain that does like the working on myself and developing skills is still the same part of my brain that I would use to like work on YouTube stuff. The 8 to 12 is just playing games, so it's a lot less taxing. It doesn't use that part of the brain anymore. By the time the 2 to 6 stream is done, like I'm no longer in the mood to do any kind of, like, my willpower is spent, right? My willpower is spent. We've been trying to do something that I'm not used to, and now it's time to just play some games that we enjoy and move on with, right? So which is why it's pretty fine to do the 8 to 12, because once I'm in it, it's just kind of like, it's fine, it's whatever. So what does this all mean? If we put it all together, let's switch back to the schedule. If we put it all together, what does that mean as far as our not sleep schedule, or our stream schedule, right? Because I want to stream more. I want to stream more often. The fact that it's like Tuesday, Thursdays and stuff like that, especially, and I was paying attention to this last week as well, the stream after I work out feels really nice. I like that. I like working out and then coming home and then streaming. It feels good. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for the 2 to 6, mwah, beautiful. I like it. So let's see here. We'll do afternoon. I don't know. So like this, it would be like, boom, right? So I almost want to say that 2 to 6 every day, except Saturdays. Oh, I'm not bending on the Saturday thing, by the way. Saturday is me day. I'm not budging on that. There's one day a week, and I'm a firm believer of this. There should be one day a week where you give yourself a pass. You don't worry about what you need to do. You don't worry about, like, oh, well, I don't say don't worry about the consequences, but kind of like that, where it's like, oh, should I order in food? Should I, like, that kind of thing? No, spoil yourself a little bit, treat yourself a little bit, rest, relax, do the thing that you really want to do. Give yourself a day. And for me, yesterday, that was to play a little bit more Foundry. So yes, I did play off stream. I'm sorry. I just did some things here and there. I was thinking about potentially streaming, but I was like, that doesn't feel like a day off if I have to do that. You know what I mean? And then we played some content warning last night. Didn't want to do that on stream as well. Some of my friends are uncomfortable of being streamed, so we make sure that we set aside time for them so we can all have a good time. And so, but there may be more content warning streams that are streamed in the upcoming week or so. I know Melon and I have been kind of itching for it, so we'll see. But no plans, no like set in stone or anything like that. Right, so I kind of want to do like every day but Saturday is this. So like the 2 to 6 is the consistent one. But here's the problem. If I use up all my brain power on the game design stuff for an everyday thing, how am I going to edit YouTube videos? How am I going to make shorts? If I use up all my willpower here, how am I going to get anything done after that? Right? So what we need to do is like have things so that I don't know. What we could do currently we're doing some dredge, right? So I want to continue doing dredge. So dredge, instead of the game design, what if we leave this afternoon stuff for YouTube, where we do YouTube stuff, I don't know. I tried to pay attention to, I wonder if it's here. This is more of like me trying to figure out what I want to do, right? Tasks that I hate, energy how I hate. It's like, so like simplified schedule, do something that I don't like in the beginning, something I do like, and then cool down, right? And you can kind of see all the different things I want to do. So I want to draw, I want to write, I want to make games, and I want to potentially make some music. I also was thinking about going into the Pokemon card competition drawing at some point. Didn't get past the brainstorming stage, unfortunately. But, you know, here is the assumption that trying to balance YouTube, that it will take, for every 4 hours of recording, I will need about 4 hours of like editing in order to like make shorts and that kind of stuff. So speaking of YouTube, let's kind of go a little bit more into that. So what do I want to I already mentioned that the YouTube is kind of a way for me to what's the word I'm looking for? Market myself. Kind of like put myself out there, get it so that eyes are on it and that they want to join the community. They want to interact, right? So how hard do I want to go into YouTube? And at first, my current goal is that I want it to be a source of where my VODs are, so people can watch it if they so desired, as well as the short form content, which would be the most likely way for people to interact with. But a part of me also wants to make like edited content. Like we finished the Dead Space, right? I kind of wanted to make like an edited video of all the Dead Space moment stuff. I think that would be kind of fun. But that's a lot. That's a lot of work, right? So like I'm looking at this. It's like, well, how many do I want? Because we're making more content than we could possibly edit in time. So in my brain, as I kind of mentioned, it was like for every 4 hours of made content, we would need 4 hours in order to edit and make the short form content of that content. So I would need the yes and no's here to equal the same, because if we are streaming, which is yes, we are making content that would need to be edited, which we can do in our time when we are not streaming. We can't edit the content while we're streaming it, you know? I mean, I guess we could. I guess I could stream the editing process, but I don't know if y'all want to watch that. You know what I mean? Plus, I don't know. I don't feel like, I don't know. That may be a decision that we can make later once we have more feedback from people of like, would you want me to stream my editing process for YouTube? Or would that just be like not something you're interested in the slightest, right? So like we have currently we have Dredge. We could do where it's like we do game and then we do the game design and then we play a game that evening. Then I do work on the YouTube stuff and then I do something that evening, right? Where in that case, the gaming is kind of more of a consistent thing versus the actual working on stuff. Because my willpower is going to be low. So as far as working on things that need to be worked on, after dinner, if I spent a good 4 hours working on stuff, after dinner, I'm not going to have the willpower to keep going. Unfortunately, the evening of Wednesdays are never going to happen because I have to get up early at 6 a.m. to work out with my brother. Right? And there's a part of me that wants to say, well, what if we just do the 10 to 6 and then just get up at 6 a.m. every day? Right? If we get up at 6 a.m. every day, that gives me enough time to get up. Like, let's think here, right? Can I, where would it be? Let's go back to our daily schedule, yeah? This is the arbitrary time that we gave out. So what if we did 6 a.m. to 6. If we shifted things accordingly, it would be 4 hours prior, right? So it would be we would start streaming at 10. We would have gotten up at 6, gotten out of bed at 7, ate food, work out at 8, come home, shower, do whatever, start streaming at 10. We would probably just do 10 to 6 potentially, maybe just 4 hours so I can go eat food, and then 10 to 2 eat food, then 4 to 10, no, 4 to 8. No. We'll probably just do 8 hours. We'll just do 10 to 6. So we would still end at 6 every day. But we would begin earlier. Hop on that get that 10 a.m. grind in. It would be near the peak of the 4 hour post wake up energy spike. The issue with that is that I'm not a morning person. I'm really not. It's just such not a natural rhythm. One of the hardest things about keeping a 9 to 5 job for me is the fact that it's so unnatural as far as the circadian rhythm of it all. Like, I switch to it. Don't get me wrong. I adjust to it when I need to. But it is unnatural. It does feel not right. And I do feel tired often. And then when I am left to my own devices, my body just naturally inclines in that direction, right? So if we're going to be doing this and putting in a schedule and sticking with the schedule, it needs to be right for me. So though the 6-1 would work, and we would just do 10 to 6, there would be two potential problems here versus our current breakup schedule, right? One, I have to eat, which means I would have to pretty much eat on stream. Where I would essentially do 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2. So at 2 o'clock, we would like take a slight meal break, eat some food, then continue on that way. The second potential problem with this block is that I really wouldn't be able to do anything else, right? There's also the options of we don't try to do 8 hours in a day, right? Because I don't know how many of y'all actually want 8 hours. What is usually recommended from the research that I've done is that you want to do 4 days a week for 4 hours each day. More than 4 hours in a day tends to leave its mark. Unless you're like an avid full-time streamer and this was something you've been doing for a long time, if you've adjusted to it, like you'll tend to burn out much quicker if you try to do like 8 hours a day. Which, you know, after a 4-hour stream, I am tired. And also you have to remember, I don't sit, I stand the whole time. You know? So what we could do, if we really, really wanted to, is we could do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like we work on stuff from 2 to 6, but then Tuesday, Thursday, we just play games. Right? And what that would do is leave the evening for me to work on stuff on Thursday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Right? Because in this case, it would be, so it's like 8 plus 4 plus 8 plus 4. So 8 plus 4 plus 8 plus 4. So streaming for 24 hours. That's how you spell hours, right? And then we have this one, which is 4 across the board, and then Sunday, which is the same deal, I believe. So 6 times 4 is 24. Yeah. So it would be the same amount of hours, but there just wouldn't be an 8 to 12 slot. But so then essentially from 2 to 6, that would just be a permanent thing that y'all would be having every single day from 2 to 6. It would be a lot more consistent. 1. 2, it would just mean that I just wouldn't be available from 2 to 6. So for the most part, that's pretty okay. Most of the time, as far as needing to go grocery shopping and things like that, I tend to try to do it at 12 anyway. So I would be able to get that done and then come back before I would need to stream. And then that would allow me to do things in the evenings, especially with it where we're doing games on Tuesday, Thursday. That would leave the evenings where I still have more willpower because I didn't spend all of it during the afternoon. Okay. You know, that's not half bad. It's the same amount of hours. It's more consistent. And that doesn't mean we won't play games on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It just means for those 4 hours, it's originally dedicated to then be productive. And I'll try to be better as far as lasting all 4 hours. The drawing practice in of itself, I still feel like I'm getting faster with, but it has been taking a lot out of me. So like 2 hours is usually how much I can give with that before I start losing steam. And as you saw from the chart, like I peak and then my energy tends to dip about 2 hours later. So, and that just exhausts the willpower as well because I'm really trying to push through it as well. So maybe 2 to 6 every day. Where we're still working on this stuff for that. And this leaves the evenings. If I'm feeling extra ambitious, I can do YouTube stuff. Could do that. Because if we looked back, let's double check the Twitch thing real quick, right? Actually, hold on. While I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna loop this. The viewers, Yeah, 6 is when things start dipping. Really, it's just taking advantage of the hump. And then the channels... they also peak. And then dip, right? So it's the highest competition. So really, the 2 to 6 slot is the most advantageous as far as the amount of people that could be utilized, but is also the most competitive. Which is why it is often recommended that you kind of pay attention to where the big hitters are. Because I think, if I remember correctly, Thor mentioned kingpins. So what you want is you need to pay attention to the kind of audience that you're catering towards and see who are the biggest hitters for that. And then, like, when they're streaming, and then see if there is a slot available for when there aren't any huge kingpins, and then aim for being the kingpin in that slot, right? Which makes a lot of sense. But again, we're not trying to make streaming our main goal, but also we don't want to just completely neglect like smart decisions as far as when to move forward with things. Yeah. And is the 2 to 6 one great? No, I do kind of agree that a 10 to like maybe a 10 to like 4, yeah, like the 10 to 4 makes more sense from the data standpoint. And maybe next time, yeah, see, like it peaks at 4. So if it peaks at 4, we probably don't want to be where it's most competitive. It's why in biology, it's why it's so beneficial to take advantage of something that isn't being taken advantage of. And by that I mean like niches. So in biology, it happens time and time again, evolutionarily speaking, where an animal will fill a particular environmental niche that isn't properly being utilized. In other words, it doesn't matter if the resources are there. If the competition's too fierce, you ain't getting a bite. It ain't happening. It is so much more difficult. It is much better, biologically speaking, to specialize in something that's not being utilized a lot, even if there's less of it, because there's less competition. So there's like almost like I wonder if they have it. I wonder if they have a relationship, right? I imagine there might be. Maybe overview? Viewers versus streamers, see? So you would want to be in a situation where, like this. See how there's a lot of viewers versus not a lot of streamers. That's what you want. You want a situation like this, where you have the relationship between viewers and streamers being what point is it where you get the most viewers with the least competition? And I don't see a way for me to know that, right? It compares itself to itself. Then we have active streamers. Then we have like, right? This is the live streams chart. This is watch time. This is stream time. Let's look at games. Let's see what's going popular right now. Just chatting. Yeah, that's the biggest chunk. All other games combined, yeah. Grand Theft Auto. Okay. Am I going to play the most popular games around? Probably not. That's not the direction I want to go. If I wanted to be a streamer and make a living off of streaming, yeah, that's exactly what I would do. But if we're going to dip into something like this, we want to make sure that we're doing it in a smart way that is also... What's the word I'm looking for? That is also livable with how you personally function. I'm still trying to think of the word. I'm just gonna let it go. So if we look, so the difference between this, let's say 10 o'clock, right? We're only gonna go to like 2.24. We're gonna say 2.24, right? It's technically in the millions, but if it's significant figures, it don't matter. 2.24 viewers at 10 a.m. on Saturday, right? Then we go to channels. At 10 a.m., we have 90.9 thousand. So if it's 90.9 thousand, hold on. I need to fix these figures then. 2.24, 224. And then this is 90.9 thousand. So 90,900, right? Divided by 224,000. So 4%, right? We have 4%. I'm gonna make a new window here. You're not seeing all this math in the background, but I don't think you would want to. So we have 90,900 competitors, right? That's our competition, divided by the amount of people, the amount of resources. And sorry guys, you are in fact a resource, but so is literally everybody, including myself. So then we look at 2 o'clock. That was 10 a.m. 2 o'clock, 110,856. And 856. Write that down. Divided by 3,114,803. 14803. 3,114,803 equals 0.35. So equals 4%. Equals 3.5%. So it's about equivalent, right? I'm trying to remember in the way that I'm doing this math. Do we want higher percentage or lower percentage? Well, let's artificially inflate one side, right? What if instead of 90, or what if instead of 2 million, it was 3 million for the 90,000? So 90,900 divided by 3,240,000. Yeah, lower the better. The lower the better. So technically, though the competition is higher, it is better for you. The ratio is more in your favor at 2 than it is at 10. But this is also a drastic generalization, isn't it? As we mentioned before, the people at near the top, just because the ratio is better, it doesn't mean that's when people that like the things you do, come on. So how do you know what that is? I think the only way to know is to see what other people are doing. To see what the kingpins are and what they're doing and when their community gets on. Because, well, granted, you don't want to come on at the same time as the kingpin, right? Because why would the people go to your stream, or my stream in this case, if they could just go to someone that they're familiar with, someone that they know is good, and that they enjoy being around, right? You want to make sure that you are supplying something either different enough where it pulls their attention, or where you're not intruding on the kingpin's time slot. So what this pretty much means is I need to do a little more research, right? I need to figure out who the people are in the niche that I'm in, what they do, when they do it, and go do that. Not really go do the same thing they're doing, because there's no point in you doing the thing that other people have made their channel built upon. Like, it's just not gonna work. They're already doing it. You need to figure out what you do best, in this case, me, and just emphasize the strengths of that. Right? You just want to make sure you're not double dipping into a category. So let's give the example, right? Let's use the example of so the 2 to 6 usually, as far as working on stuff. From 2 to 6, I'm doing art, or I have been so far, right? And then it tends to be very chill, very wholesome, very supportive, or at least that's the kind of vibe that I'm trying to get across, right? But then I look on Twitch, and I realize there's someone else doing that kind of exact same feel at the same time slot. And are a lot more like there. Like, they're a lot more, they've been doing it for a while longer, they have a lot better standing. That's when I need to kind of consider being like, actually, should I shift it a little bit? Like, would it be terrible if I shift it maybe a little bit earlier, or maybe a little bit later, right? And this is one of the reasons why it's so important that why people recommend that you find a niche, because then it's also easier to do research as far as like what works, what doesn't work. Like, are there kingpins? Are there not kingpins? Is it a market there, right? And someone like me who's kind of double dipping, it makes it 1,000 times harder. And honestly, I'm not even gonna bother looking at like the games ones because it's Twitch. The competition, I imagine that the kingpins have been filled to every possible thing in games. You know? But, you know, it would still wouldn't hurt to check it out, right? So, overall, I'm liking the 2 to 6 everyday thing. The 2 to 6 everyday feels nice. The waking up, working on, like, eating, working out, working on something, and then doing that is pretty good. The issue with this new thing now, right? Because before we were playing games. Oh, sorry. I'll switch over. I kind of flipped it back over. Right? We were playing games here, here, and we were also doing here, but we're no longer doing that, right? So we were playing games 3 days a week. But now we're playing games 2 days a week. Now what we could do... Well, I know I want the main... So I don't remember this song kind of jamming right now. We want our main focus to be working on stuff, right? It is the making yourself and improving yourself, etc. The games are kind of like a side thing where it's very enjoyable and it's a good way to reward yourself when you are trying to improve yourself. Is to play some games and have a good time, right? I think moving forward with the new 2 to 6 setup is a good idea. I will say, I'll have to go back and check, but looking at my past, like when people subbed, right? If I look at my community, look at my followers list, maybe not even, maybe activity. I'm trying to see if there is a consistency with people who have followed me, as far as when they have. And I'm not seeing necessarily a way to check that, but what I will say alongside of that is that it seems like the 8 to 12 is when people actually start noticing. I want to say, as far as the followers, the people who have followed me, and we're going to remove real life friends in this case, right? We're removing that first. For people who have taken the time to follow me, one, thank you. But second, I kind of wanted to know, it's like, okay, so which time works for y'all? Was it the evening ones that really click? Is it the, oh, I'm so busy with work, I just want to turn on a nice chill stream, right? Is it the 8 to 10, the 8 to 12 slot is the dip. It's the one that people are signing off on. It's the there aren't as many channels. Actually, you know what? Let's look at 10 p.m., right? Let's pretend we'll do like 10. So 10 p.m. for viewers is 2.43, oh, 2,002,435,828. Actually, let's do channels first. 10 is 119,933. Okay. And then for viewers, we have 2,435,828. That ratio is awful. It's like 5. It's like... Should I have flipped it around? Probably, as far as that math goes. But, I mean, it doesn't matter either way, as long as we understand the direction it's going. The point is, we don't know. We just have to try our best with having the best ratio where we have the interact with the most people with the least competition. But you have to also be paying attention to the kind of content you're making. If most of those people in that big hump are looking for Call of Duty, that's not going to do us any good. If, as far as, unfortunately, Twitch doesn't have like an education / self-improvement section, or otherwise I would be going in that one every single time. But especially if we go into game design, there is a game design section in Twitch, right? So if I go back to Twitch and we go to browse, there's music, esports, and then we have creative, and then we have games. I thought there was definitely not IRL, definitely not esports, maybe creative. Yeah, in creative we have art, food and drink, makers and crafting, which would be pretty fun. Beauty and body art, which I'm assuming is makeup, if I understand that correctly. And looking at the here, I'll switch it over for y'all. See? We have a lot of good creative people. Food and drink. We have some art with very cute chibi here. We have Bob Ross. And then we have Wani, Korean hentai artist. Ooh, good on her. That's awesome. Animations, shorts. It looks like Madness, if I want to say correctly. So we have like art, and then we have makers and crafting. It's a lot more just like real life camera on the hands kind of deal. And then we have software and game development, right? This is the one that we'll be like going into starting next week. And
bottom left or bottom right part of.
Sorry. It autoplayed and I didn't know how to mute it. But the point is knowing who the kingpins are in software and game development, which I already kind of know, which is the Thor from Pirate Software. There it is. And like his stuff, first of all, helped inspire me to step forward as well. But I also know that he's usually off by 2. So that is good in that aspect. And I'm glad to see like these things kind of blew up.
Adjust position, but
there it is. There we go. So we have like, it's like this is our competition, right? As far as being in the game design, making documents and things of that nature, which is really good and really important to know as far as who are we facing. Looked like a lot of really good people. Really cool people too. I'm actually kind of excited. But if we were to look at art is what we were dealing with before. We have Bob. We can't fight against Bob Ross. Like what? See, look at this. Look at all this art. Look at all these art. Beautiful back, by the way. She's doing an amazing job. The point is, we have a lot to figure out. A lot of it is trial and error. And we just need to see if maybe the 2 to 6 slot, it seems to work well as far as doing the peak of having people on the platform. It also means that it is competitive. It is more competitive, but it doesn't seem to be in any kind of way in which there is less resources per person. We're talking a difference between 0.05 and 0.1. Whatever that equals, whatever that even means, I barely know what it means. But the math is showing that even though there's more people, more competition, the people offset the competition. So I don't think we're making a poor decision with our current 2 to 6. If it was like way out there where it was just like, bro, what are you even doing? Then maybe. So 2 to 6 I think is fine. If we switch to 2 to 6 consistently, it's a lot more consistent for people, so they can't be like, oh, I want to watch Idealist. Oh, right, it's Tuesday. You know what I mean? It's like Chick-fil-A on Sundays. You only want to watch Idealist on Thursdays. You know what I mean? But making it so that it's like, okay, for 4 hours, on the 2 to 6 slot, we'll just alternate between playing some games and having fun and doing, like, working on yourselves. And then the evenings will be when I focus on other things besides Twitch, aka YouTube, building up that aspect of it. And this will allow me to work on the game 3 days out of the week. I don't really like that as much. I like the idea of doing it every day, but I also want to make sure I don't burn out. You know what I mean? So the transition of our new plan for next week will be a 2 to 6 every day except Saturday, and we're going to not stream 8 to 12 anymore, at least for now, and see how well this goes for a little bit. We'll try that for this month, see how it goes. I'll try my best to be consistent at 2. I'll try to get to bed earlier, just for y'all. And yeah, see, like right at that right time, 2 hours. 2 hours in, I hit that power dip. It's crazy. It's really, once you pay attention, I do recommend you do this on your own, that you figure out the relationship between your motivation and your energy levels and when they peak and when they dip. Mine are relative, and it's not necessarily like the time of day. It could also just be when you wake up. For me, it's when I wake up. That's the rule of thumb, is when I wake up and when I go to sleep. That's the dip in peak. It doesn't matter if it's like I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, or if I wake up 7 o'clock in the evening, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It is a relationship to when I woke up, not relationship into the day. The only thing that matters during the day is the circadian rhythm for me, which is I get sleepy. I want to go to bed around 2 and I want to wake up around 10. Once you know all those, then you can try to plan accordingly to make sure, like, when you want to try to do things. What is the relationship? Here, I'll go ahead and... Oh, I could just do it this way. Oh, why haven't I been doing it this way? Sorry, I realized that there's another thing I could edit to, like, switch over instead of, like, opening it. Knowing this, knowing the motivation over time and everything, really helped me plan. So then, like, okay, I know what I need to focus on for which part of the day. And it really kind of smooth things out. If you are one of those situations where it's like, oh, I want to do this thing, but it's feeling like pulling teeth, do this. Figure out when would be a good time for you to do the thing. It smooths it out so much better. And then maybe you realize, like, oh, I was trying to be really productive when my willpower was not existent. And then you just sitting there blaming yourself the whole time. And you're like, Why can't I get myself to do this? Why do I just not have good motivation? Do I just not have good, what's the word I'm looking for? Tenacity isn't the word, but I think y'all know what I'm talking about. When you try to make yourself do something you don't want to do, right? And that isn't necessarily the case. Maybe it is a little bit, but in my experience, there's been a lot of conflicting evidence as far as like, because I grew up with a parent in particular. I won't necessarily name them out specifically, but I now have the gut instinct to think that I'm lazy instead of there is a problem with me because I can't make myself do it, which is a very toxic way of thinking about yourself. And I don't want y'all to feel that way about yourself ever. Sometimes things just don't mesh with who you are, and that's okay. What matters is that you try to make it. Sometimes you have to make the world fit you instead of the other way around. You know what I mean? But yeah, almost on the dot, 2 hours, and I am reaching a dip on this energy. Look at that. Boop. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to switch gears a little bit. And we're going to do the exercise tracker. We've now reached the point where I'm now going to go over my exercise. Yay. And this can also a time in which you can go over any exercise that you've done. And if you've kept up with it. Spoiler alert. I could have done better. All right, what do we got here? For like chest press, we have 150 over 24. So we have 2 weeks worth. Chest press, we got 160 over 19. And then 130 over 13. Look at that dip. That 30 pound dip. Then we have 114 and 117. So as far as overhead press, we're fine. Arm extension, 117. And then 70, 23. Then we do 160 over 19 and then 160 over 14. So, why? Right? Why is this happening? Why is there suddenly a decrease here with arm extension and chest press? So if I were to... But my overhead press was actually pretty okay. My fly out also got hit a little bit, but not these exercises are not necessarily equal. They do certain parts with different parts of the body, some more than others. So the chest press and the arm extension, I forget which muscle group. I think it was the triceps. I looked at the machines to see which muscles they interacted with, and then these ones were a lot more collective. The arm extension and the fly delt was much more back oriented, whereas the arm extension and the chest press had a lot more to do with the triceps. So I think I was having issues with my triceps this day. Like either there was a weakness or I overexerted it, or like, because these workouts are not made in a vacuum, right? I have day-to-day things. I move things around. I interact with people. I like overexert myself sometimes with things. So it's good to see the dip and be like, okay, why is it happening? What's something that I need to look out for in the future? So the next time I want to see if I can go back to where I was before. right? Because if I can't go back to where I was before, so like a good example is the arm extension here, right? Because we'll go ahead and fill this in with the right here. You see how this one was normal but this one was not? I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe it was because I overexerted myself with this exercise, that by the time I got to this exercise, I just didn't have it in me anymore, right? But as you saw, I bounced right back. So it was a temporary, in fact, not only did I bounce back better. A small dip just kind of goes to show of like, hey, let's figure out what potentially happened, and then we'll move forward. Right? And then you'll just hop right back on that horse. You'll go back to where, see if you can go where before. Now, if I go 70 and then it's like, oh, I can only go up to 80, then maybe I hurt myself. Maybe there was damage there. Or maybe I need to do something more to it. I need to add more focus on this muscle group in order to kind of like make sure it's growing properly and it's not just like a leaky bucket situation. You know what I mean? So next week, I'll pay attention to both of these, see if I can get back to 160, can I get back to 100, and then even see if we can even improve even further than we were before. After all, like your body only grows when you rest. The resting is when things happen. That's when improvement happens. You need to rest appropriately. And sometimes you have to take a little bit longer rest than others, and that is absolutely okay. So in this case, for me, I might have overexerted myself a little bit, but we'll look at it, and then we'll adjust accordingly. I feel like there was another dip that I didn't highlight before, but it's okay. All right, we go to pull. We have row. Yeah, 140 over 19. Okay. I see 150 over 21 and that's it. First of all, I don't want to auto highlight. What are you doing? You know what? We'll do this. Because I only see one, it must mean that I skipped it. Pull down. 140 over 18, 140 over 20, 80 over 15, and 150 over 18. All these went up. Excellent. And I must have skipped a day here somewhere, right? Now we're getting to the bad one, chat. Are you ready for this? Because I'm not. I haven't done it in 2 weeks. No! Don't be mad at me! Don't be mad. Look, I'm trying. I was gonna... Okay, I'll be better. I promise, I'll be better. Alright? Look, Sundays are hard. Sundays are harder than normal for me. Because I stay up late because it's Saturday, because it's my day off. So I'm like, oh, we're good. And then I mean, a part of me, it's like, well, if Sundays are that big of a problem, we could switch it a bit. I mean, do I need a break day between? Because the current schedule, right? If we look at it, the way that I have it broken down, because I do a full body workout with my brother Thursday. So I do a rest day between the full body and then the rest day after for the full body. So that way my body is able to like do it. And then if he is just like, hey, we want to do that one thing. And I'm like, oops, I'm still recovering from yesterday from that. it's good. But if Sundays are that much of a problem, then I could try shifting everything forward, and then I just don't do a rest day before. Because it's not really a full body. It's whatever he has planned. I don't know. Maybe we can give it a shot this week. I literally just said how important it is to have rest days, but if you know what it is. You know what we need to do. What I need to do is suck it up. After this is over, I need to just go to the gym. Is it 6 p.m.? Yeah. It'll be 6 p.m. But at least it would be a workout during the day. And it's also Sunday, so I don't really have to worry as much as far as like the after work crowd, because that's really the biggest thing that I want to avoid is the after work crowd. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. As far as the way that I would grade myself, do you really need to ask? Not good. Right? Not good at all. Twice. It's okay to fall off every once in a while. It's okay to fall off once in a while. You know what's not okay? Being consistent. Being consistently falling off, that's not a fumble anymore. When you fail to do it twice, that's borderline giving up. You need it's the way I always thought about mistakes as well, where it's like it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be weak. It's okay to have faulty thoughts and feelings and like negative things that you want to change. It's perfectly okay. But it's another thing entirely when you don't, like, if it's a consistent thing. You can't keep being that way. You can still try your best not to. You can still try to work on it, but the double is not fine. Twice in a row is not okay. So I think I need to go above and beyond and just go after the stream today. It is going to suck because I've been standing for 4 hours. So when that happens, my lower back tends to be sore. And today is legs and core, which means I'm also doing a back exercise. So that needs to change. We need to do that today. So I will do that today. I will do it. I'm assuming this pull one was not done because of people being here. I don't know. So that's fine. I'll just do that after the stream today. And you have my word. I'll do it. Hold on. Actually, you know what? Before I give my word, I'm going to check the opening hours for the YMCA that I work out at. Why can I not log in? You just forgot? You just forgot me? That's crazy. Let's see here. Oh no. They close at 5. I can't do it today. Well, I can't do anything about. I'm just kidding. I guess I could do home exercises. I'll just have to do home exercises and then just do what I can. I did write those down. Yeah, up here. Oh wait, sorry. I'll switch it over for you. Up here on top. This is the home exercises I used to do. So we'll just do that. We'll just do home exercise. We'll do squats, crunches, and lunges. On top of squats, we'll also do calf raises. Maybe we'll do, you know, those things where you can kind of like do crunches, but half your body hangs off of something. Maybe I'll do some of those as well. I don't know. I'll do it at home after I'll do it at home for you, chat. We also need to discuss what you want to be called, by the way, chat. Do you want to be called chat? Do you want to be called dodos? Do you want to be called, like, what do you want to be called? There's compies. Maybe when there'll be more of y'all, you can decide. Maybe I'll do like a little vote. Maybe like as a celebratory year-end kind of thing, where there'll be enough of y'all. We could just be like, oh, what do you want to be called? Do you want to be called chat? I could do like some kind of weird acronym for chat, but that feels meh. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and highlight that in red as a not okay thing. And I think we covered everything that we needed to cover today. Let's see here. Meeting minutes. We'll do 05 May. Past week. Next week. And then discussions. We'll figure it out. So with that in mind, we still got another 2 hours. I feel like I've lost my mental steam here. So what kind of games? Let's play like a little vibey, a vibey game, you know? Body Manor was a lot of fun. Finish that out. What kind of achievements did I miss for that? There was apparently 10 hidden ones that I missed. Oh, that's fine. Content warning. Dave the Diver. We could do more Dredge. Dredge was fun. But I feel like Dredge should be its own thing. I kind of want it to be its own thing. We could do Foundry. Played that a little bit yesterday. Kind of show you what I have in mind for plans with that. We could do Helldivers. I kinda am worried about Helldivers from the recent news as far as the PSN requirements and stuff. And it's I hope they get through this. Lethal Company, Mortuary Assistant. I don't know if y'all want to see that. There's Pacific Drive, which is fun, but I also want Pacific Drive to be its own kind of like thing. You know what? We'll do Planet Crafter. We're gonna go do it. We'll do Sunday chill days. Planet Crafters are after our chill days. I mean, it seems. I like it. It's got its hooks in me, man. What can I say? Oh, we could also do Archipelago. Because it seems people are my friends have kind of reaching the tail end of that. So I do need to do that as well. But I also don't know if y'all like watching Archipelago Factorio stuff. I'm very much new to Factorio. As someone who loves Satisfactory and also Foundry, it's amusing that it's like I'm not huge into Factorio. I'm just not a huge fan of the aesthetics of it all. Not gonna lie. But yeah, let's do Planet Crafter. We want Planet Crafter.